For several days, Alexander engaged in a brilliant war of wits and deception designed to confuse Porus and conceal his true intentions. He marched his troops up and down his side of the riverbank, making conspicuous displays of activity at various points, as if preparing to cross. He had large quantities of grain brought to his camp, giving the impression that he intended to wait until the river level fell later in the season. He spread rumors that he would force a crossing at a particular ford. Porus, initially vigilant, shadowed Alexander's movements on the opposite bank, moving his elephants and troops to counter any perceived crossing attempt. Alexander also made use of numerous small islands in the river. He would send detachments of troops to these islands, sometimes making noisy demonstrations, further distracting Porus and keeping him guessing. His aim was to wear down the enemy's vigilance through a series of feints and false alarms, so that when the real crossing attempt came, Porus might dismiss it as just another diversion. After several days of these maneuvers, Alexander identified his chosen crossing point. It was a wooded headland, some 17 miles, about 27 kilometers, upstream from his main camp, where the river bent sharply and a large, densely forested island in midstream would help to screen his movements from Porus' observers on the opposite bank. This location was also near a deep ravine on his own side, which could conceal the assembly of his strike force. His plan was audacious. He would leave Craterus, one of his most trusted generals, in command of the main camp opposite Porus's position. With a significant portion of the army, including Taxiles' Indian contingent, Craterus was given explicit instructions. He was not to attempt a crossing if Porus moved his entire army, including all the elephants, upstream to confront Alexander. If, however, Porus moved only part of his army and left some elephants behind at the main camp, Craterus was to cross and attack. If Porus took all his elephants to meet Alexander, then Craterus was to cross immediately, as the absence of elephants would make the crossing much safer. This complex set of instructions relied heavily on Craterus's judgment and the flow of battle. Under the cover of a dark and stormy night, with thunder, lightning, and heavy rain conveniently masking the noise and movement of his troops, Alexander secretly led his elite strike force, comprising the companion cavalry, Hydaspes, Agrianian light infantry, archers, and some phalanx units, to the concealed crossing point. The storm, while providing cover, also made the crossing itself incredibly hazardous. The river was rough, and visibility was poor. They used a flotilla of boats, including some that had been cleverly dismantled and transported overland in sections and reassembled, as well as improvised rafts made from stuffed tent skins.